Well, hey everyone, I just got finished watching Flash Season 3, Episode 1, titled Flashpoint, or more appropriately titled, Disappointment.
My clique should be cancelled, freaks and geeks.
Guys, really? You already sent Arrow down the toilet. Let's don't do the same thing with Flash. I mean, I'm personally a huge fan of the show. I love the show. I really, genuinely love Flash, Season 1 and Season 2, even if Season 2 was a little bit weaker. But this has got to be one of the worst starts to a season of all time. You build up Flashpoint like it's this huge deal, and this thing that's going to take up maybe half the season, even if you said it was going to be a little shorter than people anticipated. And it lasted one episode. How could you mess it up that badly? Really? Really? I mean, come on. It can't be that hard to do a Flashpoint season. You could have made it last the whole season. Had it tie in with the rest of the shows. You have 2 other shows to work with. And you only have it last for 1 episode on 1 show. Now let's get into the diagnostics as to why this episode just didn't work. Let's just grab our hands and open it up and just get inside. So the first thing is it's very confusing from the beginning, from the opening scene. If you didn't know the Flashpoint comic, you would be very confused throughout the whole episode. And I understand that they are going for comic readers here. I understand that. I respect that. But at the same time, you have to let everyone in and explain it at least a little bit. And I know they did explain bits and pieces and parts, but unless you had already previously read the Flashpoint comic, it's not going to make much sense to you. Now, Wally West from the show, I'm perfectly fine with that. He did an okay job. The suit looked fine, except for it looked better in live action than it did in the pictures. Because in the pictures, the piece that went around his neck and chin, they didn't glue those on for the promotional pictures that they released, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. More power to them. But in this, the biggest problem I noticed was around the neck. The neck piece, almost like, you see this hoodie right here? You see how it just sits? And that's what it looked like around the Flash cowl. Another thing I had a bit of a problem with was they kept referring to him as the Flash and Kid Flash at the same time, which it doesn't make sense for him to be Kid Flash if there's no Flash in this universe. But he doesn't like the name Kid Flash, but people still keep... You know, it's just confusing, and it's stupid. Real stupid. Now, no good episode, no good show, no good movie is good without a good villain. That may not be true, but it's pretty accurate. The villain of this episode is the Rival. He's a speedster, and that's all you'll know about him. You know his name, but I've already forgotten it. So he is this universe's Flash. He's this universe's Flash's rival? No. He's the rival of the Flash of this universe. Hence the name The Rival. There's not a whole lot I can say about him because there's not much to say. He did kill Wally. That was cool. Didn't mind that. Except for he came back, which is also cool. I like Wally. But the costume, good Lord have mercy. It is the worst costume the CW has ever seen. And we remember those Smallville days. We remember. We will always remember. And yeah, that's saying a lot, because some of the Smallville costumes were just like fabric, like stitched together. Like Aquaman's costume. Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. But that Aquaman costume puts Rival to shame, and that's sad. We're like 10 years past that. Really? Really? It's stupid. But overall, I feel like the episode lacks most in its writing. The writing almost felt lazy throughout the whole thing. Like they were saying, oh, it's Flashpoint, they'll watch. And then, once they have us in with Flashpoint, they're gonna make it last 1 episode. And sure, at the end, the repercussions of what Barry has done do overlap into the new universe, almost like the New 52 universe did. That was pretty neat, but at the same time, we don't see much of that, and I was really expecting to see a lot more of this Flashpoint world. But while we're talking about the consequences of Barry's actions, I just want to say that there's not a whole lot of that in this. In the Flashpoint comic, everything was just awful. Like, it was just real awful. Kind of like this episode, but also different from this episode. You know what I'm saying. I mean, the Amazonians and the Atlanteans were at war with each other, and Superman was locked in like a cave. It was bad. It was real bad. And in this one, the worst thing that's happening is Flash is like losing his memory, so he won't remember he was the Flash in the other world. Mom will still be alive, and his dad will still be alive, and he won't have the responsibility of being the Flash, and he'll still get to be with Iris because they were dating at the beginning of the episode. You know what? I would have just said screw it. Granted, Wally did die, but I mean, you didn't really know this Wally. He was kind of different. I mean, he was the same guy, but at the same time, he was like not the same guy. So all in all, I'm going to rate this episode. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10, which is low in my books. We'll see you next week for next week's episode of The Flash. I may be doing some other episodes, some other shows. I'm going to try to start doing this for Supergirl, and if I can stomach it, I'll probably do it for Arrow. We've also got a series review of Luke Cage. I'm not sure how we're going to go about doing that yet, but once we all finish, we may do it all together, or if I finish first, I may do it, Levi may do it, Zane may do it. Not sure, so just stick around for that. Follow us on all of our social media links. The links are in the description below. And as always, I'll see you again when we meet right here. I love you guys.